Once again, I'm Keystone. We got RedBone, and today, man, we are blessed to have a Pacoima icon in the house with us today. This is a big one. I'm real excited about it. We got none other than Chris Richards, the coach, man. Chris Richards.
What's
Salute.
good? What's good? What's good? Happy to be here, man. Papa Wildcat in the house.
Hey, this is a big deal for us. So we so happy to have Chris involved with the show, man. And it really touches me to even be able to do this with you, bro. So with that being said, Chris, where were you when and where were you born, man?
Well, first, you know, to be able to say where I was born on this platform, I wanted to give a double salute to what you brothers is doing. And anybody that's watching this should support this, double down on it, and support this right here. Because this is the first time, and I believe in doing things the first time, that we have had this type of platform with this type of quality and looking to get content ever. So when I
Thank you.
say ever, that means ever for the 818 for the Pacoima area. So let's give these brothers a round of applause. And like I say, a double salute
Man,
for what y'all doing.
Appreciate it.
And
I
hopefully,
appreciate
man,
that.
this just keeps going and getting stronger and stronger. That being said, that's an interesting question because there's a lot of assumptions when it comes to myself and my brothers and where we come from, right?
Wow.
So
Okay.
I'm from the East Coast, born on the East Coast, Astoria,
Uh-oh.
Queens, Astoria, Queens, New
Wow.
York. Yeah,
Wow.
and I moved out to the West Side, and got all my training in the West Side when I was 6 years old. Was brought here by my brother's dad, and I don't even call him like this, identify it like this, because he's the man I am today is because of him. He took three boys, the
Wow.
oldest being 6 years old, then it was me 5, and then my brother Dave, and then Kerry was
Wow.
born in 71 here in California. So salute to my dad, Papa John's, Walter Johns. Everybody knows him as Papa John. So he's the man that made all of us who we are today.
Wow.
Wow.
No
Yes.
Salute. Salute,
disrespect,
Pops.
Salute,
yeah,
Papa John's.
yeah,
Right.
no disrespect to my dad and my namesake, Christian Richards Patrick, the senior, but Walter Johns is the man, for real, for real. And he taught me how to be a man and a parent, for sure.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
wow.
Yeah, but it all
Wow.
started in Astoria, Queens, New York.
Story of Queens. Do you remember anything about New York?
Most definitely, man, all the way up to the day I left. The day I left, and then I'll go back, was me and my brothers just sliding down the hill on some cardboard because it was wintertime. And then we see my mom. And at the time, Papa John walking up. We didn't know who he was, but we knew who my mom was. And I went running to her, and like that's the last memory I have of being in New York and going back in terms of fun, the fire, all the scenes that you see that Spike Lee had done, the fire hydrant and the kids playing in the water, that was our swimming pool. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Wow.
The
Okay.
basketball and all of that, man, in the middle of the projects, the whole get down, that's
Okay.
real. What we
So
did
so
for
yeah, that's
fun,
what I was gonna ask you. So you was living like in an apartment, like project type of setting up there?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Astoria, Queens is what it was called, you know? And I went to PS. PS stands for public school. PS 117. That was the public school that I went to. So I definitely have vivid memories of New York playing. The river ran right by us, and in the river, what we did for fun, especially during the 4th of July, we lit quarter stick of dynamite and threw it in the in where the rocks was, and that's where all the rats and everything would be running out and running around. That was our
Oh
fun.
wow.
Yeah. So Astoria, Queens, man.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I wasn't expecting that, man.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So
Yeah.
so you moved out here in at 5 years old. Did you move straight to Pacoima or did you stop somewhere before that?
Straight to the west side. Felipe, on the street with the Doziers, the Casey's, QT and Peachum, with some real ones. You know what I'm saying? The Goodwins, the Currys. That was my training
Wow.
ground coming from the East Coast. You know what I'm
Straight,
saying?
straight. Okay.
Yeah.
Right to
So
the
So
from
west
the from
side.
the from the fire
Salute
to
to
the
the west
frying pan.
side.
Yeah,
To the
exactly,
west side.
exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. So
oh,
established some real relationships with some real brothers on that side. Both that played ball, and then both that was in the streets. And
in the
that's just what
streets
it
a little
was.
bit. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what elementary school did you end up going to when you hit the west side of Pacoima?
Fillmore Elementary.
You went to Fillmore
I went to
Elementary, not
Fillmore
Broadus.
Elementary.
That lets you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
That
yeah. It
lets you
is.
know right there. That
That's
gives
right.
people a perspective. Look, this it wasn't
Yeah,
Broadus. It was
yeah.
Fillmore. So you went to Fillmore Elementary.
Yes,
That's
sir.
deep.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. And then my
So
crew at Fillmore Elementary was Pernell Goodwin, Tony Majors, Farron Haley. We had some Tuffy Reynolds. We had some cats that again in both lanes. Doing some real things. Yeah,
that's deep, man.
yeah.
So so you what middle school or junior, it was junior high back then, I'm pretty sure. What junior high school
It
did you end up
it
at?
was junior high, man, and that's where really I got the perspective of having a different mindset.
Mm,
Okay,
mm.
because it was the introduction of busing. It was the
Wow.
first
Okay.
time that busing took place. So literally in junior high, I went to three separate schools.
Mm.
Okay. I started off at San Fernando Junior High. Well, actually, I
Okay.
started off at Lawrence Junior High.
You went
Wow.
I went to Lawrence and Chatsworth.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
You went, oh
yeah,
wow. That's
yeah. So
deep.
in the seventh grade, I was bussed out to Lawrence Junior High.
They were
And that's
busting
where,
back. Okay.
yeah, man. And then
What year, Chris?
Do you
What
know
year was
about what
that?
year that was?
man, well, I tell you, it had to be 76, 77.
Now,
Yeah.
my question, was you playing football then?
I started playing ball in 76 with the Dolphins
Oh,
and Tiny
well,
I
yeah,
Mike.
knew
I
I
was
was
gonna
about
come.
to say,
I was
there
Yeah,
you
gonna come
go.
right back
Now it's
around
about
to
to
that
playing
too. I was
yeah,
gonna come back around to
yeah,
the football.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you went to Lawrence.
I went to Lawrence. Then after that, I went to San Fernando Junior, right?
Okay,
And then my ninth grade year, and that's where I met my ride or die partner to this day, Nobel Junior High.
Damn.
Yeah,
so you was on the west side of the valley going to school a lot. That's deep, Chris.
yeah,
I like I
yeah.
said, I went to Lawrence and Chatsworth too. So
There
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
So
Okay.
I was in that type of environment, and ironically, you know, my ninth grade year, the second semester, that's where they actually ended busing, and they gave you an option whether to go back
Mm.
to your home school or stay at Nobel. And by then, man, I had established relationships because they had bus people from Pacoima and from the city, right?
Right.
And then
Right.
there was
Yes.
those that
Yes.
was in Northridge with Steve Randolph, which is my partner to this day. And actually is sitting here in my office right now. When they said, "Hey, you can go back to San Fernando," I'm like, "Nah." Talked to him, talked to his mom, and I stayed at Nobel and graduated from Nobel.
So who was it? Okay, so the busing at first it was mandatory. You had to take the
Yeah,
bus to school.
yeah,
Okay, okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
The first 2 years, the seventh and eighth grade was mandatory, and then the second semester of the ninth grade year, that's when they made it optional, and they gave us a choice to
Oh,
go back
okay.
to your
That's
home
when it was
school
option.
or stay. Yeah, or stay. Yeah.
Okay,
But then after that, busing was eliminated altogether, and they went into like magnet programs.
okay. And PWT and all that type of
Yeah,
stuff. I
yeah,
think that's what
yeah,
I was P the
yeah.
permit with trans, something like
Right,
that. I remember
right,
that. Wow,
right.
that's deep. Okay,
Yeah.
so now of course we got to get into what year did you start playing football?
Well, man, my first year of football was with the Dolphins in 1976, and
Wow.
I was brought there because again at Fillmore Elementary, you had the Reynolds, you had James Boyd, and James was my brother Mike's best friend, and me and Tuffy hung tight together. So naturally, they say, "Hey, man, do you want to play some football?" After being on the playground, we said, "Yeah," but the thing was this: My parents were 7-day Adventists.
Oh, so playing on
Yeah,
Saturday was
yeah.
tough, huh?
So yeah, exactly. So Saturdays, before I even started playing football, I used to be in church Saturday morning, right? I used to be in church Saturday morning watching an Anthony Gibson and Austin Shankson come in to the church house after they game Friday nights. You know, so so I'm sitting there watching these cats, and through the years, Kevin Williams and all of them. I'm like, dang man, that's where I got the Tiger love for the Tigers, because these brothers was coming to my church and they was
Right.
playing the games the night before, and I was going to the games with Tuffy and his family. They was going to the Fernando games, so I was like, wow, man, these are the cats that's in my church. When they come into church, I'll just be looking up like, wow, look at this, man. I'm in here with Anky Gibson and Austin Shanks.
So
You
you
know?
seen them. So you seen them playing on Friday night, and then they come walking into the church on Saturday. So it
Yeah,
was like, oh
yeah,
wow, huh? Like
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
same dudes I just seen getting it in last night,
Right,
huh?
right. So my mom and dad, my dad was like, hey, y'all can go play football. You know, he was cool like that, and said you can go play football, but after football season, you in church Saturday morning. And everybody didn't know that's what we did, like clockwork, you know,
Right, right, right.
until we got to high school, you know.
So that brought about that structure, huh? That
Yeah,
was the
absolutely,
foundation. I
absolutely.
feel that. I feel
Yeah,
that.
so between junior high and going to those schools in Chatsworth, right,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then getting it at home and going to church and stuff, and then getting it at football practice with the Dolphins. See, the
Right.
thing about the Dolphins, man, was that, and I didn't learn this until I got older. The thing about the Dolphins was that all the coaches was in the movie industry.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they were in the
Wow.
movie. They were in entertainment, either movies or bands, right? And then we
Okay.
had some coaches that had played in the NFL. You know, so we had
Where
real coaches.
where were the Dolphins practices held at?
Sherman Oaks, man. So we caught the bus, the 560
Wondering.
in the 880, Van Nuys and Glen Oaks, had caught it at 330 all the way to Sherman Oaks.
All the way
And
to
then
Sherman Oaks for practice.
and then the parents would come and pick us up, or Coach Liggins, Mr. Gomez, Mikey Gomez's dad, the Reynolds, they would take me and my brothers back home.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's deep.
yeah.
So do you know why the Dolphins folded, or what
You
happened
know
to the
what?
Dolphins?
What happened with the Dolphins is that I think it was in my junior midget year. They didn't have a midget team, so I played junior midget. The following year, they didn't have a Bantam team. So that's when
Mhm.
I went over to the Bears, right? So
Oh, so you ended up at
basically,
the Bears.
yeah.
Okay.
So basically, as the years went on, the older group start dwindling down to smaller numbers,
Started
because
doing right,
some
right,
of
right.
the kids were going to private schools, right?
Yeah. That
They were
started in
going to
ninth grade.
some of the white kids were going to the private schools.
Okay.
And so we was pretty much the skill players, right? Left out to do, for fend, pretty much fend for ourselves. So that's why some of us went to the Bears, some of us went to the Chargers, then the Chargers faded out. So it's the Braves and Northridge. So that's how that jumped off.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you seen you said you seen DT
Yeah.
in KD, so you know we got the little rivalry going
So
on
look,
with
man.
the
So
with the
yeah, yeah,
Bears and the
yeah,
Trojans, and the
yeah,
Braves is chomping at the bit to get out there too. I got something
yeah.
for them too, but yeah,
So
uh,
I'll say this. I remember distinctly for my group, my brother's Kerry's group, my brother's Dave's group, and my brother Mike's group. Those are four divisions. Now, they are younger than us, KD and them,
right,
right?
right,
So on
right.
those championship days, those four divisions was
Uh,
in the championship, and those four divisions was winning. Period.
Now my turn. I remember Chris from when I was in the seventh grade when he played Bantam at
Yeah,
Devonshire Downs.
yeah, yeah,
That's when I heard it because I knew he was from the Dolphins, but that's how I first remember him. I was in the seventh grade and they went to the Bantam. He played Bantam for the Bears. It was
yeah,
him, Tank.
yeah,
It was him, Tank. I can't remember
man,
who else, but
we had a loaded team. It was me, Byron Goodwin, Pernell Goodwin,
okay.
DeRusso,
Yep.
yeah, we had Sean Blunt. We had players, man. We had players. Yep.
That was the
We was
Demonstration
deep.
Downs. I was in the 7th
Yeah.
grade.
But
So then I remember.
we
Go
lost to
ahead.
Chatsworth because I got knocked
Okay.
out in that game. I didn't even finish the
Okay.
game. Yeah. Yeah. I
Wow.
got knocked
See.
out in that game. And I didn't get a chance to finish and we lost that 12-6. But we had
Hey,
a squad.
that's the
We
same
had a
year,
squad.
y'all. Hey, Tuffy Punk Todd Bridges. I'm gonna tell y'all that in the bleachers. Tuffy
Ah,
Punk Todd Bridges in the bleachers. Tough. You know I was there. I
ah,
saw it. I ain't gonna never forget that.
that's
But we're gonna
real.
leave that
That's
alone.
real.
That's another story.
That's real. Todd was
Real
running
talk.
around the neighborhood during that time. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yep. Tough
That's a
checked his
fact.
ass at the fucking Demonstration Downs,
Yeah,
bro.
that's
I'm
right. That's
bullshitting you
right.
not. I was there.
That's
That's right.
crazy.
Yeah.
And
Real talk.
exclusive. Another Stone and Bone exclusive.
Real shit.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
One more thing, because
So
JB
the
knew
bottom line,
that,
the
that,
real bottom
go
line
ahead.
about all of that, man, is that whether it was the Braves, the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Bears, the Knights, it all came from the pack.
All came from Pacoima funneling all of
You
that,
know what
huh?
I'm saying? And the truth of the matter is this: it was too much talent to all be on one team.
Be all on
So
one
even
team.
though we was running the show, even though KD and them was running the show, there was other teams, Bears or the Braves, that was runner up to them, but all them cats was from Pacoima too. So it was just too much heat to put on one team. Is what
That's
it was.
crazy. All
You
that
know,
coming from one little small little
that's
section.
a fact.
So
That's a fact.
now tell me this. What was it like growing up in the shadow of a Charles White? Because I know Charles White wasn't too far gone by the
Right.
time you got there. So I know he probably was bubbling in your mind and a big figure at that time. So what was that like, man?
All day long. Well, one in the Bantam All-Star game, right? I remember not going into the end zone, right, on a long run because I wanted to take it in from the 2-yard line so I could jump over the top like Charlie. And I did that. And when I did so, I went over the top saying, Charlie. You know what I'm saying? So
That's deep.
and that's real talk. That's real talk. And, that was, you know, really Fernando,
Yeah.
Coach Marsh, right? Walking past Marsh Arms, Marsh Villa. That is when I realized you can play ball and you can be a businessman.
Wow. Talk about it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Talk
That's
about it.
really, that's what motivated me, which gave me the perspective of what it meant to be a Tiger.
Mm.
See, the term is so hard. Look, man, this is my desk, right? So right in front of me is a tiger, right? Sandglass, horns, Shriner trophy. My son's Shriner trophy. I got one too, but it's about standard,
Mm.
and it's an extension of Pacoima. Fernando is nothing but an extension of Pacoima. There's a certain standard that's mandated when you wore that Tiger uniform, period. From having to qualify and earn your uniform. You had to run a mile in a certain time as a skilled player.
I heard about that.
As a skilled player, 5 minutes and 5 seconds, 10 seconds. During that time.
Did you have the same head coach as Charles White?
No, well, we didn't have Coach Marsh. We had Bill Hornbeck. So we had Hornbeck coach Charlie, but the tradition was passed down from coach to coach because the players, the coaches were former players. Wow. So Hornbeck, Chapman, Hernandez played with Charlie. Hernandez blocked for Charlie. So the standard of expectation has already been set, not only from me seeing Gibson and Shanks in church, because they watch Charlie. I'm watching them.
Right.
So the standard in terms of what the expectation was when you lined up first of all, earn a uniform. That's the first thing. Run that mile. Second thing is depth chart. If you was a starter, homeboy, every time you touch the ball, you better make it happen. It ain't how many times you touch the ball. It's when you touch the ball, you make it happen. So my senior year, I never carried the ball more than 12 times a game, but had 150, 200 yards. Allen Rouse, 5 times a game, 80, 90 yards. DeWitt Briggs, 5 times a game, 80, 90 yards. DeWitt Briggs, to be real about it, this how cold we was. DeWitt Briggs set a city record, like 7 games into the season, 97 yards. 3 weeks later, Allen Rouse breaks his record against the number 2 team in the country, Fontana, 99-yard strike. 99 yards. So we had a backfield, and the quarterback was Junie B. So Brazil. So
right.
The level of expectation, man, is what I can say at Fernando was reflective of Pacoima and the expectations of representing the Pacoima. We just did it on the football field. Simple as that.
That's deep.
And because my homies, when it was time for me to go to practice, get out the car, man, go to practice, represent. We'll see you at the game.
Right.
That's how deep it was.
Right.
And that's why to this day, I got nothing but love for QT Morris, Richie Payton, Eric Joseph. I mean, real soldiers.
Real
dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's my crew.
Right.
It ain't blood. It ain't OV. If anything, OVG, because my cousins were OVGs. The Dozers, the Ivies, Frank Ivy, Rodney Ivy, Kevin Casey. These Danny Edwards. These are the Currys. You know what I'm saying? These are the Peachum, who I call the general. You know what I'm saying? The general, Daryl Peachum. You know what I'm saying? QT's older brother. Soldiers. So this is my cloth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I carry to the football field.
And them dudes made sure you made it to the football field and not
mandatory.
Go that other right.
Mandatory.
That's stand up. Stand up. Yes, sir.
Wow. I'm gonna get QT too. I talked to QT. We gonna get QT story too.
For sure. And that's why I mentioned it. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm gonna let him see. Yeah. I'm gonna send this one to him too, so he'll know what I'm talking about, because he wants to come and do this too.
Well, he's right across the street from me every morning. We say, "What's happening?" Salute. Boom. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
sir.
that's why I wanted to be on here to get the real. You know what I'm saying?
Come on,
man! I love how you naming all these names, though. I love how you giving that look and giving these guys they shots out and they flowers right now, man. So
no doubt.
That's a big thing. So now, you play for Fernando 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
Yes, sir. 2-time All City. All conference. All those things that you're supposed to get as a San Fernando running back. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at it man.
Coach?
For me, I don't look at anything that I've did is what I was supposed to do in the position that I was in. Period.
Right.
Period. So and so I'm supposed to set the example them same cats did for me, for the other cats that came behind me, because this is the standard. You rep your hood. That's how I rep my hood.
Hey, Coach.
Go ahead, Bone.
Hey, Coach. What was your record against them damn Cougars?
2-1.
Okay.
As a 10th grader and as a senior. In between we lost 14-13. James Boyd, Gerald McIntyre, and Maurice Taylor.
Okay.
Maurice Taylor was a Dolphin. So if I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose to a Dolphin. You know what I'm saying? James Boyd, a Dolphin. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying?
I
That's
bet that
right.
was some. I bet you there was some
Oh,
iconic
oh,
games.
hey man, you talking about standing room only.
For
Huh?
Standing room
real,
only.
bro.
If you didn't get there before the game started, you standing outside and looking through the fence. Real talk.
So what
If
was
we,
it like? What was it like
And,
lacing up
and
against
we,
the Cougars as a Tiger? What was it like when when
well,
you knew it was Cougar week?
well, look at this how it went down when it was Cougar Week. And I can say this now. So Monday, the weekend. Now here's my senior year. The weekend, we TP'd the whole school.
Ooh.
We TP'd the whole
Ooh.
school. You know, the year before, and Jack and James will tell you this. They driving by, and I think they was dropping me off or my brother off, right? One of the homies on their way to school, right? And some cats started banging on them from Fernando because they Cougars, right?
Right.
But we had to give them pass, man. Like, hey, man, it's the 818 first. It's the
Right.
818 first,
Right.
and then it's the Cougar. You know, but we told Jack and James, man, don't come by here this week, dude. Just
This
don't do it.
week,
Don't.
huh?
Yeah. Because you put us in a situation. You put us in a situation. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it went down. That's how it went down. It was
Ooh.
real. It was real. It was
Yes,
real.
sir. Okay. So now, so you was 2-1 against the Cougars. So
Mm-hmm.
now you earned all your accolades as a Tiger, and then it was what'd you do after high school, or what was the next
After
step?
high school, man, I went with Oklahoma over USC.
Ooh,
Yeah, I went with Oklahoma over USC in Washington.
wow,
In
and
Washington. In
wow.
Washington.
wow, I didn't know
But
that.
you
And
but you had those three schools that you could have chosen.
man, I had offers from everywhere.
Wow.
Envelopes, just letters on top of letters, man. I didn't even take my last trip to Cal. I ended up going to Cal.
Right.
I didn't even take a trip to Cal. I didn't take all my trips because I was just tired.
So what about the Sooners made you choose them over SC?
Well, one, it was about the bone. One, it was about the bone, the wishbone, having the
The bone. Yeah,
opportunity
they was running that
to
bone. Yes,
play in the
sir.
bone. The other thing, and this is what really did it, when I went on my recruiting trip to SC, they started showing me film of Kevin Williams, another Tiger, but he
Mm,
was playing wideout.
okay.
And I'm like, man, I'm not a wideout. I'm a running back, right? But by the time that they tried to fix it, it was too late. And I
Mm,
had already said, I'm going to Oklahoma.
for that
It was
bone.
all set
Yeah.
up. Yeah, it was all set up, man. For me to go to SC. You know, um, I don't regret any of the decisions that I made in regard to
Right.
that. Things could have been different.
Hmm.
And maybe not. But
Right.
as I look at it today, man, I'm more than pleased with the outcome.
It
You
get
know,
the outcome. It
yeah,
worked itself out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You
God's
know,
plan.
and I got a chance to uh, be in the Orange Bowl. I
Oh
got
wow.
national championship, Big Eight championship rings.
Wow.
When I transferred from Oklahoma, and that's a story in itself, man. It was recruiting season in January, and this cat, Keith Stansberry, he was a graduating senior, All-American safety. And Andre Johnson, he was a freshman All-American, redshirt freshman All-American corner. These cats had gotten into an accident, man. And I tell this story to all my players, right?
Right.
And this really kind of reinforced uh, my aspect of like, don't be the traditional athlete, the traditional jock. Be different, right? Be different.
Mhm.
Be more than the game. Don't let the game be you, right?
Right.
But what happened was, man, these cats was in an accident. Now, Keith was going first round. He was going to go first round in a couple months. Andre was a redshirt All-American. He was going to play another year and then get drafted the next year. They
Mm.
both were in a car accident. They was driving together. The road was slippery, and they both was paralyzed.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I'm getting up early in the morning, going to get my morning workout about 5:30, because classes started at 8, and I wanted to get my workout in before the classes start. And, Coach Switzer, Leroy Selman, I mean, you talking about coaches, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Get Coach Gibbs. They're all in the big conference room. And I'm walking by, and all I hear them say is, them guys is done. We need more numbers.
Mm.
Yeah. Now here's the
Mm.
thing. Coach Marsh had written in my yearbook, because at this time now, Coach Marsh driving to school in his roles, right? And he's a dean. He had just retired from coaching when I came in as a ninth grade, as a 10th grader. He had retired. And that's when Hornbeck took over, and then Hernandez and Chapman took over, right? So I walk by and I hear them cats say, man, we got to get more. Them dudes is done. We got to get more numbers in here, right?
Mm.
And that reinforced something that Coach Marsh had written in my yearbook. And I didn't understand it until I heard those words. And what Coach Marsh wrote in my yearbook, which is my mentor, who I model myself after, football is a means to an end.
Mm.
I didn't understand that when he wrote it in my yearbook as a 12th grader when I took it to him. Like, what does this mean? Football is a means to an end. What are you talking about? I'm planning on playing for the rest of my life. This is my mindset.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
This is my
Yeah.
mindset. But this is the game that's allowing my dreams to come true, right? But when they said that, that's when I thought, damn, we ain't nothing but the number on the back.
Number on the back. Right, right.
Because every year they go and try to get somebody to replace you.
I'm trying to get somebody to replace you. Yes, sir. Yes.
And that's just what it is.
Yes.
That's what sports is. Getting the best to make your team the best to win, especially when there's money involved.
Mm.
They're not just doing it just to do it. You there, yes, to get a degree and all of that. If that wasn't the main thing, they didn't even really care about the degree. And I'll tell you why. And and look at Coach Switzer, solid dude, man. All the coaches, solid. But their job was to win football
We're in
games.
football games. Right.
They wasn't
Right.
there to teach you English literature. They wasn't there to teach you history. They wasn't none of that. Their job was to win games.
Win games.
The instructor's job was to, you know, take care of the academics and everything like that. They got you help, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, what type of degree you got, whether you got a degree or not, was on you.
Hmm.
And see, at that time, the perception of getting a degree during Charlie's time and things like that, that wasn't a priority.
It
It
wasn't a
wasn't.
priority back then. Right. Right.
No. It was just get them in classes so that it could be eligible to play. That's what it was. And that's real. And I can speak to it. You know what I'm saying? Because I was on that path.
Right.
I was on that path. When I left Oklahoma a year and a half, now get this, a year and a half, you get 30 credits, 15 credits every semester, right? So a
Mm-hmm.
year and a half, that's 2 semesters and a half, that's 45 credits. When I transferred from OU, a university, top university, playing in the Orange Bowl, I transferred to a junior college in Alameda. I was scheduled, released to go to Washington, the Huskies.
Right.
But I ended up going to Cal because I had 3 years to finish 3 instead of 2 years to do 2. They got me in a quarter system. So I was
Mm.
able to get my AA
Right.
in
Right.
3 quarters because I transferred in October after school started. But I transferred before the 3rd game, so that year didn't count against me.
Mm.
So I had 3 years to do 3 instead of 2 to do 2. So what I had to sit out a year. By transferring to Alameda and going to Cal, I was now able to play 3 years. I would have had to sit out
Right.
if I would have went to SC or I went to Washington, because they had semester schools instead of the
Okay.
quarter system.
Okay.
So again, by that time, my mind was already on I need to get what I needed for me. But here it was. When I had to go to a quarter system if I wanted to get caught up, because only 5 credits transferred to the junior college when I
Wow.
left Oklahoma.
Wow. So they just had you in anything
Just
just to
to
be
be
eligible.
eligible to play,
Just to
man.
be eligible to play.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was no knock to them
No,
because it's business,
it's business. Right, right,
you
right.
know, and it's not what parents think when they send their kids off to school. And parents understand this. When you send your kids off to school, that's when the parenting really needs to kick in.
Gotta be watching. You gotta make
Yeah, you
sure.
got to make sure,
So
man.
me and DT had this, we had this same conversation, and we were saying the same thing you're saying. Like, yeah, you have to have your kids, like if they're already in a 4-year school, why not have them go for the top-notch degrees? Why
Absolutely.
waste it on like a sociology or something where you're gonna get a minimum wage job when you get done with 4 years of school? Like, go
Right,
ahead, go for that
right,
doctor, go for that
right,
lawyer, go for
right, right.
something where you
That's real.
going, if
That's
they're gonna
real.
pay for it, you might as
That's
well
real.
go ahead and go
That's
for the
real. Go for a
top
double
notch.
major. Go for a double major.
Oh
So you
yeah.
take courses that satisfy 2 majors. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? One
yeah.
course that satisfies
Talk about it.
2 majors.
Talk
So
about it.
that's all stuff that, when I was coaching, that's what I preached to my players. Hey, man, I changed Coach Marsh's the game is a means to an end to use the game. Don't let the game use you.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
mm.
Because in my opinion, if you've been playing like we do in our neighborhoods ever since you've been 6 or 7 years old, and you get to high school and you don't leave with a scholarship, now here's the thing: you don't have to go to SC. You don't have to go to Cal. You just go somewhere where they're going to pay for your education.
Get paid
And
for it.
anyone coming out of Pacoima that played ball can get a scholarship somewhere.
Mm,
The thing is, we get so caught up on, I don't want to go here, I don't want to go there, that we miss the real picture of what we
the
there
big
for.
picture.
Just
The
like
big picture.
myself.
Yeah.
I could have gone to the Canadian Football League. But back then, we frowned on the Canadian Football League. But 2 years later, Michael Pringle go to the CFL, becomes one of the all-time leading rushers, wins the world, the cups and all of that, great cups, and he's paid. So what are we there for? We're there to
Right.
get paid. You know what I'm
Con.
saying? On and
Con.
off the field. You're there to get paid on the field, and you get paid off the field. You get paid off the field by leaving there with some paper, a degree.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That's applicable to life after football.
So it was your decision to leave Oklahoma? You just
Absolutely.
decided? Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when I
Wow.
came home, man, I came home. James Boyd picked me up from the airport. And he'll tell you, I was crying, man, because I felt like a failure.
Mm.
We don't fail when we come from Pacoima. We don't fail when we come from San Fernando. That's why I just stayed a week and went right up to the Bay Area because I didn't want to get caught up. I refused. I wasn't going to let it happen. So I stayed there for a week and boom, was up at Alameda County going to the junior college and lived up there and getting up and going to school, catching a bus 30, 20 miles to Alameda from Berkeley, coming back, going straight to work. They hooked me up with a job, was at work at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, back home at 8 o'clock at night, back up in the morning. I did that from October all the way until I got 60 units in those 3 quarters. So I was maxed out like 16 units each quarter because I
So
wanted that 3 to do 3.
you didn't play any JC ball. You was
No,
just there to get the credits so that you could transfer.
the only
Wow.
thing I did was run track, so I stayed in shape when I was ready to play when I went to Cal. And then what I did, Cal had intramural. Even though I wasn't enrolled, my teammate played intramural football. So I came coming home from work and played intramural football during the fall from October all the way until December, just to stay,
Just to
to
staying in
stay up
shape.
on it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you had contact. So you had contact with the Cal coaches already, though. So they
Well, yeah,
knew
they the one that set me up with Alameda,
they set you up with the
and I
school
was
to get
going
it
to
right.
them. I had already signed
Oh wow.
when I came from Oklahoma. I signed to go to Cal, but I had to finish my AA to get the three to do three. Instead, I sit out another year. So I
Okay.
wasn't gonna do that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Wow.
So the grind.
So you end up at Cal.
Yeah.
So what was that like? What was
Man,
that like?
it was first of all, Cal was uh, uh, um
I know
he-
that's a
yeah.
prestigious academic school.
So here's the deal. My first English paper, because again, I always wanted to be different. I was the only black African American, let alone male, in the English program.
Right. I saw that you got a English
English lit.
degree.
Yeah, I got an
Talk
English
about
lit
that.
degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my first paper, now keep in mind, this was after being a year and a half at Oklahoma,
Hmm.
and then pretty much 8 months at a junior college. My first English paper, the English teacher put a red line through it and said it's not the traditional way of writing.
Okay. Okay.
like, like I hear what you're saying, but this is not how we communicate in the corporate world.
Wow.
So yeah, bro, and they put a red line through it. Like I'm not even gonna count this. This is not this is not proper writing.
This is not the standard we
No, it's
accept
not going to
here.
be.
Right.
No, it's not. So literally, man, I had to teach myself how to write by
Right.
reading the books. See, people think English literature is about writing. It's really not about writing.
It's about
It's
reading.
about literature,
Right.
under reading authors, getting their perspectives on things, and understanding their background as to why they're writing what they're writing. So I
Wow.
began to pattern my writing after different authors and collaborating and moving in and out because I was in creative writing at San Fernando with Mr. Wolferson. So he didn't judge the way I wrote because it was creative writing class. And
Hmm.
that's what really that's why I gravitated to English literature. And Miss Pinson, my English teacher at San Fernando, they were good. And they were real teachers trying to teach you something. Well, that's why I gravitated to English lit in the first place because of my teachers at San Fernando. So, Mr. Wolferson, I was part of the paper at San Fernando, the Eye of the Tiger. So I had articles in there, you know, and that's what it was, man. And we did that.
So, so rough estimate being a English literature major, about
Uh-huh.
how many books do you think you've read
Man,
over that time span being at Cal?
I would say, man, every semester you had to read about 4 or 5 books, right? So I would say I've read about 60, about 60 books. Of Mice and Men is my favorite book.
I like that book
Um,
too. I read
you
that
know,
before.
Scarlet Letter, another good book of mine. You know, what else was there? There was also what is that? I forget the name of it, man, but it was another powerful book that's well known, and it's just slipping my mind right now. I'm just
Right,
plugging this
right.
in up before it go there, but yeah, man, English lit was my thing, man, and I got a chance to write and be creative, and ended up
That's deep.
graduating, as an English lit teacher.
That's deep.
Yeah,
That's deep from Cal. That's not
yeah,
that's
yeah,
not small. Like I say, Cal is
yeah.
like a Ivy League on the West Coast, man.
Yes,
It's
it
Cal
is.
Stanford. That's big. That's big time stuff.
And I tell you, it's a micro. Well, let me say this: Lawrence and Nobel is a microcosm of Cal.
Wow. They
Yeah,
prepared you.
it did, man.
Bone,
It did.
you gotta mute.
Yeah, it prepared me. It was an extension of me getting bust and being
Right, right,
exposed
right,
to
right,
other
right.
people. right?
Other
So
people,
my first
yes,
day at
yes. So
Cal,
feel that.
my first day at Cal, man. I hear this loud noise and chanting and everything, and it's thousands of people walking through the streets protesting the war because that's what Cal was known for, protesting.
Right, protest, yeah,
Freedom of
yeah.
freedom of speech. You got Harry Christians, you got Asians, you got Russians, you got Germans, African Americans, Latino, you name it, bro. It was there. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
I remember when my playing was over, I still had one more year to finish up. And that's another story. I'm sitting there, man, all day, the second semester after my senior year. I'm sitting there all day, man, just taking it all in, watching people pass me by because for 3 years, I'm on a program. Morning, go to class, eat your lunch, go up, watch film, get your weight lift on, get practice. Go to study hall afterwards, go to meal trial, study table, back, boom, 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 boom. So we have blinders on. You don't even get your program. You don't even get a chance to really experience the campus.
Right,
You experience sports. You experience football. You know that stadium in and out. But the campus, the culture of the campus, you're oblivious to it because you're locked in on what you're there for.
right.
So I was fortunate enough, man, afterwards to be able to, for the whole semester, I would sit there, man, and just take it all in. And like, this is what Cal is about, you
Mm,
know? Yeah.
mm. Freedom of speech. Yeah, because the Black Panthers started there, right?
Culture,
Right.
bro. Real
Culture
culture.
is
You know
already
what I'm
there.
saying?
That's
That
deep.
you can be whoever you wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? Whoever you are, you can be that person without judgment.
Mm,
But here's the thing. You will be held accountable for your actions.
mm.
You can be who you want to be. You can do what you want to do, but understand that comes with a sense of responsibility.
Comes with responsibility, right?
Absolutely. So what do you represent?
And how you represent it,
That's right.
huh?
That's right. And you can't say you one thing and be something else
And be something else, right?
and
Okay.
represent. It don't work that way.
Mm,
You
mm.
are what you are and you walk like that, which is
Right.
what Pacoima is about for me and what a Fernando is about for me. So
Mm,
that's the correlation between Pacoima and Berkeley. It's
mm.
about the real. That's the relationship between the assimilation between Fernando and Berkeley. It's real. You know what I'm saying? It's true. It's family.
So is that where you at Berkeley is that where you would you say that's where you became a man? You really got your focus on being a man and what you were gonna do for the rest of your life and things like
I did
that?
well. I had always, like I said, getting on that bus as a Dolphin and going by Marsh Arm, Marsh Villa. I always knew two things. One, I can play ball and I can be a businessman.
Mm,
Second thing is that I can come back to my neighborhood and do that. That's
mm,
what Coach Marsh did. So, and you can see articles that Eric Simon had written on me in high school where I'm saying, I'm gonna go play ball and I'm gonna come back to my neighborhood and be a teacher. I did that. You know what I'm saying?
that's deep.
And then and that when I my after my senior year at Cal, I was in the Rams camp, and it's up to the last cuts. It's the last day of the cuts. I'm still there, and it's a room about 20 of us, and we going around the room like, you know, what you gonna do, man? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? So it's only about 2 out of 18. When they got to me, I'm like, hey man, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go to tell Coach Robinson that I'm up out of here because at that time I had 2 kids. I had 2 kids. By the time I graduated, when I actually graduated the following year, I had 3 kids. So
Hmm.
my thing was, look, man, I didn't get signed to no guaranteed contract. They wanted me to stay to be on practice squad, but they was only paying $500 a week. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And
right,
had I stayed, I wasn't going to be able to go back to school and pay for my for my last semester of school.
Mm.
So I told these cats, look, man, I only got 1 year to finish up. I got two semesters, and I get my degree. These brothers said, what? How was that? I said, well, um, I took these courses. I said, well, these brothers, man, 2 years, 3 years away from graduating. And they had been in college 4 years, 5 years.
Wow.
But that took me back to why I left Oklahoma in the first place.
Man, yeah.
I understood how they could be in that situation. They took classes, but none of the classes was going towards a degree.
Just in class.
So I
Wow.
smashed out. Yeah, so I smashed out and went back to school. And that was the end of the one thing about me, man, I'm a realist. And it's what Papa John, hey, when it's over, it's over. That's why you use the game and don't use the game, let the game use you. I got what I needed to get out of the game at that point because it wasn't going to pay me no more. The scholarship was paying me. You know what I'm saying? Balling at Fernando, I got paid by getting a scholarship. Now it was flipping. Put in the work, be on the practice squad, risk your family, risk your degree. Oh, no, 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 no. I got to get my paper. I can't go home without my paper. Moms and pops, that ain't part of the program. So I smashed out the last day of camp.
Okay.
The writing was on the wall. I
So,
wasn't going,
so obviously, before we get too far, you ended up at the Rams camp. So you must have balled out at Cal, though, right?
Most definitely. I did my thing at Cal. I represented, you know what I'm saying? We didn't win many games, but me, I got mine. They
You got
game
yours.
plan. Yeah, they game plan for me. That's right.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
And then I
That's
brought
what I'm
Russell
talking
there.
about.
I recruited Russell there.
That's
I
so.
was
That's
happy to
how
see
Russell ended up there.
Yeah, they put me with him on the recruiting trip. I set him out, took him over to Frisco, set him out. He came back. Yeah, I want to be a Golden Bear. Of course you
That's
do. That's
deep.
wrong. Yeah,
That's deep. Yeah, we
yeah.
looking to get Russell too. We looking for you,
Come
Russ.
on, Russ. Come on, Russ. Roll on you Bears, baby. Let's go. Let's go. You next up.
So that's cool, man. So you bought out at Cal.
Yeah,
So you realized football was pretty much done and finished your degree at Cal.
yeah,
So now let's get into the business side of
yeah, yeah.
Chris Richards. So
Yeah.
what was the first business or what was your first
My my first job was telemarketing. I worked maybe 2 days, and that was it.
That was it?
That was it. I went to work in group homes for at-risk youth, the help group.
Wow.
Children's Baptist Home was the name of the company I worked with. And then I brought some other fellas from the neighborhood. Sonny, DT's brother worked there, brought him on, and a few other cats. My brothers worked there. And that's where I really said, okay, this is where it is, right? But I'm gonna say this and keep it really 100. When I got called for the Rams to go to camp, I wasn't available. I wasn't available. My parents was living up in Lancaster. And, I called myself trying to make some money. And I'm up there at Corson Park trying to make some money and got caught up.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm rolling this dude, and when you're from the neighborhood, you develop instincts, just natural instincts, right? So I'm on my way home with my bread, and I see this car approaching. He driving slow. I'm like, oh, this don't look right, right? So this white cat rolled up. Hey, man, you got anything? Nah, man, I ain't got nothing. I was selling bud, And you got anything? No, I don't. So he pulls off. Just so happened, I dropped a little couple sacks down. I go down to pick it up. Woo! Police roll up on me, right? They go, hey, what you got there? I said, hey, man, that dude just drove off. Y'all just saw him. It's his stuff. It ain't mine. They took me into custody. I spent I spent the weekend. It was 4th of July weekend. I spent the weekend there. The Rams is
Mm.
calling. The Rams. This is real talk.
Ah,
The Rams is calling. My dad is like, hey, he went on vacation. He'll be back. He'll be back. So I get out that Monday on the OR, and I go to the Rams camp. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the real got to be told. You know, and that was a stage. So I ended up getting out of it because, and this is how God worked. This is how God worked. I'm going to court, fighting it. And I see the dude in the wheelchair. I got a public defender. And I tell the public, I said, that's the dude right there. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, that's the dude that drove up and drove off, asked me. He's like, really? He's the undercover. I said, I told you.
mm.
Yeah. So they gave me diversion. They gave me
Wow.
diversion. I went to diversion classes, drug classes, community cleanup, paid the fine, and I never went back there again. And I got the
Man.
job at the group home and worked there. Got a job at the help group, which is right across the street from Valley College, working at a non-public school, where you get kicked out of the regular schools and you go to the non-public school. So I was working
Right,
there,
right, right.
brought Derek Denson on there. I was work my way up. I was the interventionist. I was the guy that was going in when the kids was going off. They'd call me and Derek Denson because I brought him on board with me, and we would talk to the kids or whatever to de-escalate them and what have you. And then they say, "Hey, man, would you like to oversee the kids at the group home that come to the school every day?" So I became the school day manager just for the group home kids because I was doing such a good job overall with all the kids at the school. And then at the same time, I was working on getting my credential to teach.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, when I got out of school, I went to Fernando and said, hey, man, I got my credential. And they didn't have a spot for me. That crushed me.
Wanted to
Yeah.
go coach at your old school. I mean, go teach
Yeah.
at your old school, huh?
Yeah. 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 And so I said, okay, cool, no problem. And another Tiger, who was my coach, Mr. Valone, was over at Monroe. And he
Right,
said,
right.
why don't you, because Kerry was already there at Monroe teaching. And but he wasn't coaching. And Valone said, hey man, come on over to Monroe. And the rest is history as it relates to coaching. I went over to Monroe and we did some good things, man. We did some good things there.
But what? Okay, so now, were you? When did you start the Pacoima Wildcats? Was that before you went to Monroe,
No,
or
that was
no?
after I went to Monroe.
Oh, you already at Monroe. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's pretty much when I became familiar with you. I think you coached for the Bears like one last time. My little brother was over there, and I was helping out Coach Marcus. And then I think you coached for the Bears one year. Then that next year you started the
Right,
Wildcats.
right. I had coached a year. I had coached 2 years at the Bears.
Okay.
One with my little son Chris,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
then the other, no, one with Rashad and then one with Chris. Rashad went up, and he was with Marcus and those
It
guys,
was with Mark. Yeah, because I
and
coached
yeah,
Rashad. Rashad was like
yeah,
my first
yeah,
receiver.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I coached below him. Then the next year we went up, and that's when they had those two teams,
Right.
and with me and who was it over there? Man, I forget his name, but he had the two twin sons and all of those cats. And me, Coach Harper, Franco, Marcus Franco, and Rashad, and Carew, little Alan Carew, and
Carew. Yeah. Yeah.
Theo. We,
Hey,
that's when I was coaching them
did
cats.
Theo just pass away?
Alexander?
I think so, Chris. I
No, don't
saw
tell me
Joe.
that.
I saw Joe Dixon posting something, and he was real hurt about Theo, and I couldn't think of who else he could have been talking about. But yeah,
That's
yeah,
my godson, man. Don't tell me that.
yeah. You might want to
I
check
was
that
just
out,
talking to
man.
his mom the other day. Come on.
I would, I would, I I don't know for sure, but I know Joe
Right.
Dixon was saying something about Theo, about a
Wow.
Theo. I don't know which one.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, but yeah,
Wow.
that's all in my
Yeah, I'll
brother's
follow
age
up on
group.
that when I
So
get off this call. For
yeah,
sure. For sure.
okay. So so uh
So yeah,
so
we
you're at
started the
Monroe.
Wildcats. We started the Wildcats in '97.
Was that not that was 97?
That was
Okay, okay.
'97. Yeah, we started in '97. Yeah.
Wow, okay. Yeah, my brother.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Hmm.
So now, so when did you so at Monroe you started there? What year was that before we
That had to be '96. So a year before I was at Monroe, and then that next year we started the Wildcats in
then you
'97.
okay, okay,
Hmm.
okay. So
Hmm.
now we know was Brandon Browner was one of your guys over at Monroe, right?
Yes, sir. BB. So Brandon Browner, here's the story with him at the Wildcats. The Braves wouldn't release him because he still has some pads, which was raggedy, toe up. You know what I'm saying? So literally, this was really Brandon's first contract because we had to get him a brand new powder blue, which they couldn't do nothing with it. Wildcat helmet, Wildcat brand new pads, shoulder pads, practice equipment, the whole thing, and then they released him for him to come over to the Wildcats. That's what happened with
Wow,
Brandon. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
yeah. And then he came to Monroe. He followed me to Monroe. Red brought him over to Monroe. Because I started as a 10th grader. I believed in starting cats, whenever they was ready to play. I started him as a ninth grader, and the rest is history, man. That dude is
Uh,
one of the most talented cats that I ever coached or played
right,
with.
right,
And that's
right, right.
saying a lot. Real
Mm,
talk.
that's
BB was
deep.
the real deal.
He
The
was a
real
real
deal.
deal. He was a real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and my brother got real tight at Sylmar when they was at Sylmar together. So I got to get a little I got to get a little closer to him at that time. And yeah,
Right.
them dudes was a cold defensive backfield back in the
Yeah.
day, man.
Yeah.
But so yeah, man. So you had so at Monroe, and then um, is that where you started plays and grades, or when did plays and grades
That's
start?
well, see, here's the deal. Plays and grades is the Pacoima Wildcats.
Ah,
I wanted to expand, go into other cities. But you
mm,
couldn't go into Lancaster talking about Pacoima Wildcats and you represent
right,
Lancaster.
right.
So we had to change. We changed the name to Plays and Grades Pacoima Wildcats. Plays
Mm,
and Grades Lancaster Wildcats because we started a track team out there.
mm.
So that's why we changed the name. And see, people thought you selling out, you doing this. What happened to Pacoima Wild? Nah, man, this is business. We expanding the brand. You know what I'm saying? So they couldn't understand that. And that really was the downfall of the Wildcats.
Mm.
That was the beginning of the end, you know,
Wow.
because I had a full concept and plan. And I just talked to Will Lang about this because he's trying to do his thing, right?
Right. Yeah,
So I said,
yeah. Shout
yeah,
out, Will. Shout out to my
yeah,
boy
yeah,
Will.
Will.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
doing his
Dream
thing,
Life.
man.
Dream
Right,
Life.
right.
Yeah.
You
Him,
know?
my son played with Will.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
my son played with Will coming
So
up.
he had hit me up last week and he was saying, Coach, I want to talk to you because I'm trying to do some of the things that you were doing with the Wildcat. And I explained to him, I'm like, that's good, man, because I'll give you the whole blueprint. Because we really didn't get a chance to do, really, we only got a chance to do a third of what I had planned for the Wildcats. I had a concept and I still operate it to this day. It was ace of spade, ace of heart, ace of diamond, ace club. You play your cards right, you have a better quality of living, right? So that was
Mm,
the slogan. But the ACE was an acronym, is an acronym for athletics for the A, community for the C, and education for the E,
wow.
ACE. And all of that was
Okay.
supposed to be programming. You know what I'm saying? Doing
Right.
things in the community, taking them on college campus tours and SAT prep, and all that stuff, building out your career under the education, career path stuff. We never got a chance to implement that.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you passing out on the wheel.
I'm
I
ready. I'm
heard
ready to
that.
pass it on. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I'm ready
Okay.
to pass it on.
That's deep.
Because it's you know, and that's I continue to do the athletics by doing the All-Star games, the California Classic, and all that type of stuff. You know, what I'm doing now, the care providing business is a part of the community aspect in education in terms of business development. So
Okay.
everything I'm doing is related to that ACE concept. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And growing
That's
out
deep.
businesses.
That's
So,
deep.
that's really what it's about. And, you can't, I was before my time in regard to programming,
Hey,
you
I
know,
understand that.
you
I
know,
understand that. Yes,
because
sir.
you coming back to the neighborhood and I'm the same age as all the other cats with the kids. They like, well, who are you to say, go do this or go do that? We just wasn't mature enough to understand really what the bigger picture was, man. We was just too young. you know. And
Wow.
I got a lot of partners, and we solid the cats who brought their kids to the Wildcats and everything. Solid. John Austin, James and Jackie Macon followed me. The Armsteads, Will Chandler. We, King Wildcat, Milton Knox. You know what I'm saying? That really had put the Wildcats on his back, and my kids and Deskin Goodwin. All of the riders. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? That
Mm.
really role for the Wildcats, man. I appreciate and salute these brother, Derek Denson, who took the basketball program, and them kids, man, they changed the rules for our basketball program. As John Austin, where they was pressing so hard, we had the referee said, y'all cannot press these cats until they cross the line, cross half court. Like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? And then Austin Shanks and Monica and Gail Devers running our track program. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Yeah, I remember that
It-
stuff. I remember Gail
yeah.
Devers
So
used to be at the track meets and stuff.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
man.
Yeah, I
So,
remember all that.
and Austin's still running Themsha. No love lost to it. Everybody feels they need to do their own thing. Do your own thing. I'll support you. I'll bow out. I bow out rather than have conflict with my folks. I just do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? And hope
Right.
to meet you at another crossroad. You know.
Wow.
hmm
Okay. So now, eventually, you ended up coaching at Sylmar, correct?
Absolutely. Now here's a story about that. See, because me, man, I'm a loyalist. That Pacoima runs through me deep. It runs through me deep. That Fernando runs through me deep. I'm raised on that, right? Peachum, the general, they run through me deep. The OVGs, they run through me deep. So what happened was this. John Austin came to me, said, hey, man, Jameer's going to the senior year. We need a coach because the coaches is gone. We need a coach. Engelman and them have smashed out to our leader. So they said, we need a coach. I'm like, oh man, I'm doing the Cali Classic. We had just done the Cali Classic at the Home Depot Center. So we about to blow up. So that time, that's when uh, um, Parks, Clarence,
Right. Right.
little
Right.
Clarence came
You
out.
remember? You remember? I had my little team used to come
Yeah,
up there.
yeah,
Yeah, you, you
yeah,
you you let me in
yeah.
there,
You know
man.
what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason why. So I went to them cats. I went to Elroy. I said, hey man, I'm thinking about coaching. Will your son come? I did the same thing with Clarence, and I did the same thing with a few others. I went to Cookie, same thing. He went to Kidney, loyalist to his alma mater. Understood it.
Right.
Deion was
Right.
over there. I get it. But before I did that, I went to Fernando Hernandez. I said, hey, Tommy, Sylmar wants me to coach him. What do you think? I did the same thing when I took the Monroe job. He's like, well, we don't have a place for you. So I said, okay, I just wanted to come and let you know, man, to give you,
Hey,
uh,
coach, back up a little bit. You
yes,
too
sir.
close to the camera. There
Yes,
you
sir.
go.
Okay. So I just, I went to him and he said, well, we don't have a place right now. And Blunt was over there at the same time too. And I didn't want to be the head man. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to coach at Fernando. But,
Mm.
when I did coach there, I had heat. I had Will, I had Bryce, I had Leonis, this was my back. Carlos, this is my backfield that I coached. We lost to Keyshawn
Okay.
Johnson. We lost to Keyshawn Johnson in them in the semifinals. You
But
know,
that was like 90-91, huh?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that I
Yeah.
was their coach. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's
So
why.
I played
Yeah,
against them dudes. I was at Cleveland. I
yeah,
played against y'all at Cleveland. Y'all tore us up, but yeah, I was
right,
out there.
right. So that's why
Okay.
when cats start talking about, who was the best, there's different levels of that at different time periods. You know what I'm saying? Because them boys, they had come from Oaks Christian and came and put in some work. Leonis and them, the
Right.
Carlos and Will.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so yeah, Will Taylor. So yeah, I went to Tommy, and he left me no alternative, and I was going to coach some of the homies, kids. And at that time, for me, it was about taking care of the community. And so, and it was a story program. It had gone down, and who else to bring it back up but a Tiger? You know what I'm saying? And that's what we did. And
Yeah,
that's
y'all
what we
did.
did. Got
Yeah.
brought
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
John Brazil and all the homies, all Tigers, and it was Tigers coaching at Sylmar. What it was.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah. Yep.
You
That's
know?
tight, man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that group because you
Yeah.
remember I had the youngsters, my
Yeah.
my little chisels
Yeah.
707
Yeah.
thing used to let us come up there,
You was
man.
doing your thing. You
That
was
was
you
good
was
looking.
doing your thing, man. You was doing your thing.
Like I
You
say,
know?
I trip out because I see all these 707s now, and I know I was like you say, I think I was
Right.
ahead of my time. I think
You
I
was.
was I was
You
just
was.
just a little too out in front of my skis,
Yeah,
but
well, and we didn't understand the game.
right,
I mean the
right, right,
real
right,
game. You
right,
know what I'm
right, right,
saying?
right, right,
We
yeah.
should have had, man, just and starting with me. We should just had filtering into various colleges. SC,
Mhm.
UNLV, Cal, Washington. We should have players going to all of these schools and parents listening to the guidance of individuals who had already gone through it. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Had
mm.
we done that, man, we'd
Yeah,
be so powerful right now,
I'm telling.
on the field and off the field.
And off. That's what we trying to do, man.
Yeah,
That's what
you
we
know what I'm
we,
saying?
we it's not we it's not too late. The vision
No,
is
not at
here.
all.
I feel
Not
you.
at
I
all.
feel you.
Because the generation, like Brandon's generation, right?
Right.
And everyone behind him is right on time right now.
Mm.
Because now I'm seasoned. I done all the I done got my doctorate degree in business. You
Huh.
know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Wow.
and in development and everything from the South.
Mm.
Learning this in the South. And the South is a different beast. You know what I'm
Huh.
saying? Coming
Huh.
from California, coming from LA, coming from Pacoima, and going into the South. I mean, it's a different thing, man. So, I've been able to carve myself a little niche out in the
So
South.
let's talk about some of your business ventures. And I know you, like you say, you got some things going on in the South.
Hmm.
I think I read you got some stuff going on in Louisiana,
Yeah,
Indiana.
yeah, yeah. We
Was
got
it
property. My goal is this, man. Really, in a nutshell, to buy up as much land as I can and build it on it.
wow.
Houses for us to own. I want to own every aspect of it. I want to own the land. I want to own the development company. I want to own the equipment. I want the architects, the engineers to work under my company so that we control every aspect of the development. It's not slowed down. I want to have partnership in the product that's being used. The product that I'm a distributor on is called Bill Block, and it's going to be an innovative material that they're using to address fires and everything else. We got a 37 home development that's going to be approved in Louisiana this coming Tuesday. The engineer finished out everything to get the site plan approved. We got another 139 acres that we're going to build out a small city in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. We got property in Indiana. We're
You
going to
said
so
139 acres of land?
139. Yes, in Edgar, Louisiana, in between New Orleans and Baton Rouge,
Wow.
halfway, 25 miles each way.
Like you say, that's a whole city.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that with the product, this build block product. And I got partnerships with the city and the surrounding areas where they're giving us access to tax roll property. You know what I'm saying? I don't know individuals know what tax roll property, but tax roll property is the property that the city takes back from individuals who forfeited on paying their taxes on their property. So
Okay.
you can get property at $500, $1,000, $2,000. It all depends on where it is. You know,
Wow.
so my thing is to buy the property and build on it and sell it at a low cost. And if we have to, carry the paper on the house too. Because the problem is, you got some people who live in their apartments, man, 25 years, holding jobs for 30 years, and they can't
Right.
qualify. What
Right.
kind of
Right.
shit is that? What kind of shit is that? That don't make sense. So for us,
I come
because
for that.
you know what I'm saying?
I come from that. Yes.
You
My
know what I'm
mom lived
saying?
in the Fillmores for 29
Yeah,
years.
yeah. You know what
Yes,
I'm saying?
I
Hard working.
understand.
So if the thing is to prove that you can pay a note, what more proof is that than somebody's holding a job 25 years? What more proof is that somebody's living in a place for 25 years paying their rent? That's enough for me because that's the
Mm,
environment I come from. So
mm.
literally in my developments, if you show me you've been renting for 6 years, no evictions, you've been holding down your job for 6 years more, that's your qualifier. And you
Wow.
can literally move into your home
Wow.
and start paying your rent. So literally next month, if you're paying $1,000 to rent, you can move into a home and you paying $1,000 to me for ownership. 80%, 70% goes towards your ownership. The other 30% goes to me financing the house in the profit.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
we trying to
So
change the game.
now, now I know, like you say, in Louisiana, stuff like that. Now, how does that work in California? Do you
So
have that
here's the
same concept in California as
same
well?
concept, same concept. Because the entry of development, I'm not a greedy developer. I'm not trying to get 5 times, 6 times the amount. It don't cost that much to build. It
Mm,
doesn't.
mm.
So we can cost we can build at $130 a square feet, $120 a square feet. You don't need to build at $400 a square feet. It's
Wow.
it's a greed thing, man. Now, are we trying to take care of people or not? Now, those who want to spend $1 million on their house, they got the paper to do that, no problem. But the average individual in our neighborhoods,
Right.
they don't need
Right.
to be
Right.
getting got.
Right.
There's $1 million homes in Pacoima, man. Eight hundred
I
thousand,
yes.
seven hundred
Yes.
thousand dollar homes, man. Come on. They done already been paid off 4 or 5 times. So what are you doing? And then you're not putting the money back in the community. It's going right out of the community.
Going right out of the community.
So my concept is this: community-owned cities. That's why those 139 acres, 29 acres, is so we're going for 60 to 70% of the people living in the home own it. 60 to 70 people that have businesses in that area own the business. And then 60 to 70% of the people that's working in that area live in that community. So now you got the money circulating in that community. If the homeowner is there, if the homeowner owns the business in there, and then if the people in the home is working in the area they live in, the money is circulating now 3 times 3 at once because everybody's in the community. Right now, one swipe, as soon as you make your deposit, the money is going out of the community. Right
Nah,
now.
that's yes, 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 yes. That's a big problem in our community that the dollar leaves so fast. Like if
And
you
we're
see
not
that
owning the businesses. And we're
and
not
we
owning
not
business.
on the
So
businesses
that's
in
a
that.
double whammy.
Yes.
That's a double, and we're not having the jobs in there. So those are 3 strikes. You know what I'm saying? So those are just
Okay.
basic economics, Doc.
Right, right, right.
When we were thriving, people owned homes in their community. and they had
Exactly.
businesses in their community, and they
Exactly.
worked in their community.
That was Black Wall Street, right? That was what Black Wall Street was, and all the flourishing communities
That's right.
when blacks was doing. That's exactly what it is
And see,
exactly what they're describing. So
the
wow.
misperception that it was only in Tulsa.
No, it
No,
was a few other. Rosewood was real, and there's a few other ones. Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
So the example of black entrepreneurship is still alive and well because our dollars control the market. They do. They do. The
No, I
black and
believe.
brown dollar controls the market. You turn on the television, everything is targeting towards the black and the brown.
Yes.
The commercials, the music,
It's a it's
all
it's
the
a rap
music.
song. It's a rap
Yeah,
song that sells everything right now, right? Right? Nah, I'm with
and that's just real. That's just
I'm
real. So if you
definitely
break that
on what
down,
you're talking about.
yeah. So if you break that down to the most fundamental level, right? Fundamentally, what does that mean? That means our dollar controls the economics. Because if we made a conscious decision, as long as it's quality, of course, quality product, right? You patronize that location, restaurant, food store, nail shop, hair shop, auto dealer, whatever. You patronize that as long as it's quality, we get results, real results. Simple as that. It turns around automatically.
Hmm.
But because we don't own these things, because we're not in decision to hire, because we're not in decision to make decision of I'm gonna sell this to you, home to you, because the algorithm is not set up for us to buy at the level of someone else. It's just an algorithm. Because if you change the algorithm and you change the entry of what qualifiers are,
Right,
rental,
right,
right, right,
right. Yes, yes,
that's an algorithm. That's us. Those are qualifiers. You change the qualifiers to say if you rented more than 10 years, if you had a job more than 6 or 10 years, we would be in homes. We would qualify for that loan.
yes,
But that's
yes.
not the algorithm.
So now, do you have like partnerships with banking with banks and things like that, or how is the
Everything,
finance?
everything has been Chris Richards. The
Wow.
Wildcats. The Wildcats, think about it. How much was the Wildcats? $75. At the most, 100. When we year four, it was 125. $75 don't even pay for the helmet, the new helmet equipment that we had, and reconditioning. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And we had basketball, football, and track, and cheer. So, in order to to really make a difference, you have to have ownership. If
Correct.
you're sitting around relying on someone else to give you something, to do something for you that can possibly impact their income, it's not going to happen. Two things. The Wildcats got one grant, two grants from the California Wellness Foundation, I think for like $25, $25,000. That was to provide counseling in elementaries. Then we got a grant from the Amateur Athletic Foundation. Those are the individuals that get money for the Olympics, from the Olympics. Okay, it was $105,000. That was to implement after school programs, sports programs in the elementaries and two junior high, Pacoima Junior High and the other one. I think it was not San Fernando, but the other one that was in Pacoima. But those were the McClay Junior High. We used some of those funds to pay for the equipment the first year. That's how we were able to launch, and that's why we only charged $75
Hmm.
because we had supplemental income. But after that, what happened was this: When we changed the name to Plays and Grades, we had the president of Bears and Stearns on our board. The president of Bears and Stearns. I was able to get David Tannenbaum. I was able to get the president of Bears and Stearns on my board because I worked at the help group. His wife, or Richard Atlas, his daughter was Allison Atlas at the time, who married David Tannenbaum. Allison was a therapist at the help group. She was overseeing all the kids at the group home. That when they got into trouble, when they went off on her, they called me and I would come and calm the kids down, and then ended up having some of the group home kids playing for the Wildcats, cheering for the Wildcats. And she told her dad, Richard Atlas, who was the president of Bears and Stearns, and turned it over to his eventual son-in-law, David, and he was on our board. So David came on board, and he said, when I wanted to introduce, I brought up after the first year, everything was cool, and they was happy with the athletic performance and everything. And I said, I want to introduce the concept of ACE. And I explained that to him, athletics, community, and education. And I explained to him that I wanted to do under education, college campus tours and SAT prep. He told me, why don't you just stick to the sports? That was the last time I've accepted money from any organization. Because they were not going to tell me what my community needed.
No, real.
So from then on, it's been out of Chris Richards' pocket. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed. It's not me, I'm blessed. You know what I'm saying? My hand is open. Sometimes my kids and other friends say, man, that person, this and that and that and this, I don't care. It's not for me to dictate what I'm supposed to do or who I'm supposed to give to. If somebody comes to me with something that sounds good and it's about helping somebody, I'm gonna try to do what I can. Now, what they do with that opportunity is on them.
On them, yeah.
You know?
I hear you.
So that's me in a nutshell. And my goal and objective, like that tax roll property that I'm talking about, I'm about to turn that on to some cats, some truths from Pacoima. You know what I'm saying?
I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I need to holler for real. I need to holler at you on that one.
The mission, my mission is too big for one person to try to. It's a team. I come from a team concept. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna do my part. Right? I'm gonna pass the baton. This track, I'm passing the baton. If it's football, I'm gonna get the first down. Keep the chains moving. So maybe you throw it to a wide out, maybe the quarterback keeper. You know what I'm saying? Or the other running back.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But I'm at a point, man, where now I'm learning that I can't take everybody everywhere. Because just like when I wanted to bring the Wildcats and introduce ACE, athletics community, it wasn't prepared. The mindset wasn't ready for it. So that's just the reality of things, man. I can want, but at the same time, I got to be realistic about how to get it done.
Yeah.
And who is with, who's going to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? I may want to bring the neighborhood, but they just not prepared for that next level, next step.
They got to be prepared for it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I got it, and I'm growing too. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I'm any better. Like I know, no. As I'm moving up, because this is all new. Ain't nobody showed me the landscape. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a tiger. We ain't afraid of challenges or the new frontiers. What we do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm from Pacoima. It's what we do. We set trends. We don't have followers. We set trends like y'all doing right now. Y'all setting trends, bro, in a real way. And again, I salute y'all and don't stop. Don't stop.
We definitely not gonna
Don't
stop.
stop, you know.
That's
You know
good.
what I'm saying? Don't stop, bro, because it's a real. When I told y'all offline that it's a real platform, it's a real platform. That's why I wanted to give give parts of me that nobody, only close friends know me in my the Astoria Queens and all of that. You know what I'm saying?
We
And
showed,
why I do
man.
certain.
I was like I said, I was doing homework. I was so excited about this because, like you said, we know each other, but
Right,
we never had no deep conversation like this. So
right.
I appreciate this like to the fullest. So this is huge. And so now you wanna your businesses that you have presently, you wanna get the names of those so people know the
Yeah,
names and promote what you're doing.
absolutely, man. Choosing independence. That's the hub. We call it a social equity impact enterprise. We try to partner with other entities and bring them up under the umbrella, the cross market, cross brand support. You know what I'm saying? Man Cup, I got some stake in that. That's Brother Baker got that Man Cup, man. That's off the chain, off the porch, which is our concept. Who you ride with? This right here. You know what I'm saying? This thing move up and down. Look at this, Key. This move up and down. So we about to
Who you
put,
ride with?
yeah,
Philadelphia. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
We got Philadelphia, we got Alabama, we got the Eagles and KC. So we and then we're gonna turn to put a QR code on it. You can scan it, play music, play highlights. You know,
Oh
different lot of
wow,
different things. Yeah, and then
wow,
the Independence Obtain. That's the construction business. So and Tansy is the realtor over that. So we build the houses. We got our own realtor that sells the houses.
wow. That's what
Yes,
I'm
sir.
talking about.
Yes, sir.
Keep the
You know what
dollars
I'm saying?
circulating.
Come on, this family. You
Keep
know
them
what I'm saying?
circulating. I heard
Yeah.
that, man.
So and then we got Kevin Rouse. He runs the grown and sexy events that he's doing. We're doing the Juneteenth, summer solstice, and man, I would like to have you guys there, maybe even on the panel because it's in honor. The Juneteenth is the week after Father's Day.
Okay,
So we're combining Father's Day with that Juneteenth celebration. So we're going to have a platform for just men before we have the event where it's going to be poolside music, the old people performing everything
okay.
after the men convention. So I want you brothers to be a part of that. You know what I'm
I,
saying?
I definitely would like to be a part of that. So yeah, let's
Mhm.
definitely make that happen. Let's
Yeah,
connect on some times and dates and make it happen for sure.
right,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. Man, everything you talking about is right up my alley. You know, I always been about our people, man, and trying
Right.
to have that type of mindset and the independence and everything. I
Right.
love all of that. I
And
love
that's
all
what
of
it's
that.
about, man. It's about ownership. We can do it. We just gotta pull together, man. Like
Yes,
your
yes,
station, right? Like what you doing. Why
yeah.
not? Why can't we have our own state? Why can't we turn it into a station?
Why not? Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? Real talk.
Let's
Real talk.
go. We
We got brothers
need
who
everybody to push that like and subscribe and get
do that,
and get
do that,
these numbers
do that.
up. That's what we
Yeah,
need.
do that.
It'll
Absolutely.
grow. Yes,
You
yes. But
know?
nah, we definitely however we could, link with you and help you with what you doing. I know I'm more than willing.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure Darrell is too. So yeah,
For
man,
sure.
I want to stay in touch with you on a few things that we talked about. But
Oh,
I
definitely.
think this is gonna be an epic show. But
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, and
uh
then one more thing. Actually, yeah, one more thing. Troy Fisher, right?
huh.
He does that Muay Thai fight. Bro, I want you to come. I'm gonna have you at my table.
Okay.
Right? We do a
Yes.
Muay Thai. He
Yes.
been doing it, putting it on. My cousin sponsors his group. We help him sponsor his event. My cousin does rhythm and balling, some gear. I'm gonna get you some rhythm and balling gear. You know what I'm saying? This is all come from Pacoima. This is all Pacoima. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we want to talk to all of them.
yeah. So again, as we push them, we got to push you because you can be their, part of their mouthpiece and vice versa.
Appreciate it.
You know
Yes,
what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes.
And we just got to start supporting each other like that
That's what
because
I'm talking
that's
about.
what time it is right now.
Yes.
We can't look for nobody else to take care of us.
I think the president is making that very clear.
And I ain't mad at him.
I'm
I ain't
not.
mad at him.
Hey, he doing what he got to. He doing for his. We got to start doing for ours, and
Simple,
that's how I see it.
simple.
So I appreciate you, man. I
Hey, man, I
appreciate
appreciate you, bro. And now I'll tell you, as I continue to look at you more and more, I see you pulling that bag and you putting out the ropes and you putting out the things and doing your thing, doing your thing, not giving a damn about what nobody else think or say, man.
you.
And and,
Hey,
and with
see,
Sim, you know what I'm
you
saying? With
know.
Sim, yeah, man. Bro, hey, I salute you. You know what I'm saying? You've been at this for a long time. You've
You
been at it
know.
for a long time. For
That's
sure.
hilarious. Well, I appreciate you saying that, man. This been big. You are a role model. I'm checking you out from the cut, man. I ain't all but I'm checking you out, and you a role model, man. So I'm trying to I'm trying to hit that standard. I wasn't a tiger, but I'm trying to hit
He's
that
from the
standard. We
back,
Pacoima
baby.
though.
He's
We
from the back,
Pacoima,
baby.
baby.
He's
So
from Pacoima. We go to Fernando after we leave Pacoima.
you
You
know what
know
I'm
what I'm saying?
saying?
And that's the important part of everything. We all from the pack. Man. Here
We
we
from
go.
the pack for
You
sure.
know?
So
Yeah, man.
yeah, man, I appreciate you taking this 96 minutes with us, man. That's a
All
long
day.
time. I know you hadn't done that before, man, and you did that here. So big
All
salute.
day, man. I appreciate y'all brothers. And I'll be
All right,
watching. Come
thanks,
on down to
Chris.
the office, man. What's up? Come on down to the office.
I'm right
Yeah.
around the corner from you,
Yeah.
Chris.
I'll
Your
shoot you
office
the
right
address.
down the street.
I'll shoot you the address for sure.
Okay, I'ma
All
holler
right.
at you. All right,
Much
later,
love. Be easy.
man. Peace.
Later.